Welcome to The Woolly Way, a podcast specifically for dairy shepherds. That is, folks wanting to raise sheep for the purpose of harvesting milk. I am your host, Rachel Hester.
And I'm Liv Fox. We cover all things pertaining to raising dairy sheep here, be it animal nutrition, housing, healthcare, lambing tips, cheese making, and even some butchery and fighter arts.
After all, if you raise dairy sheep, you are going to have wool, and if your operation is successful, you'll eventually have surplus lambs to decide what to do with.
Ethical animal husbandry is the focus here, as well as sustainable agriculture. We want to provide you with the information you need to start and continue your dairy sheep operation in the best way possible for you through sheep and the amazing world we live in.
So grab a nice cup of sheep milk and let's dive in.
Welcome back to the Woolly Way. Rachel, I feel like we owe our listeners maybe a heads up, or if they've seen the title, we're labeling this episode "That's a Wrap" for season 2.
I was gonna be mean and be like, well, guys, I'm done with you. I'm done with Liv. I'm done with this. And just like be dead silent for a minute and then be like, for the season, but you're probably nicer than I am. And like, let's just let them know graciously. the season's coming to a close. But
yeah, I'm usually pretty direct and straight to the point.
Yeah, darn Michigander. But yeah, you may have noticed that our posting's been a little erratic and inconsistent. And the darned thing about Liv and I is we actually live the life that we are talking about on this podcast. We don't just, talk about it or hypothesize about it. Or actually, in the fields checking fence lines and sheep FAMACHA scores and milking them and all that gobbledygook. So I feel like wintertime is very easy. Fall, everyone's out in the breeding groups. Winter, we're just throwing hay, making sure ice is chopped and buckets are flowing and that kind of stuff. And then, I hit lambing, and I feel like, Liv, you were able to kind of fill in that gap. But then once your lamb started dropping, it was like, you know what? We need to have a conversation about seasons and podcasts are a good thing.
Right. Probably moving forward, realistic expectations potentially for our listeners is like airing new episodes September through end of April. And then I feel like once May 1st hits, we're both like in the thick of things, and it's really, it's not hard to do the interview. It's hard to find the time to then go through and edit them. I don't think people really realize how much editing we do to try to have a professional episode where we're not umming all the time or long pauses and that kind of thing. And it just takes time, and we don't have time once summer hits.
No, and I don't know about you, Liv, but for me, I mean, winter has its own type of intensity, but I feel like summer is just next level intense. That's when parasites hit, that's when dehydration for the animals and you, I mean, that's when we're milking, that's when we're trying to figure out what we're doing with all of this milk. So it's a lot busier than I feel like winter is, because I mean, winter you still have the animal care, but hey, we're probably not milking if it's sheep in the winter time. And then that just adds a whole different dynamic. And then, the pesky thing is that you and I both also don't just have the sheep. Like, we have jobs and children and significant others, and all of them want food consistently for some reason, and cleaned underwear.
And attention.
Yes, and attention, and they want you to be happy as well.
Attention and love.
Yes. Don't know why. And I know some helpful person's gonna write and be like, you can like schedule posts and all that gobbledygook. And yes, we can. In order to do that, though, you have to build up interviews in the hopper. There was a couple of times where you and I were able to find times that worked for all of us, but we had to batch record, and then we were able to schedule posts. I'm sure we will do some of that, but neither of us are making enough money where it justifies the amount of time it takes to coordinate with everyone, schedule everyone, block off time to batch record, and then do all that kind of stuff. So, unless there's some fabulous listener who wants to sponsor, wink, wink, the podcast so we can manage this a little differently, I think you're right. I think we'll mainly be airing Woolly Way, fall through early spring, and then once late spring hits, we'll probably wrap up our seasons just because I mean, again, I'll probably be corrected by someone about this, but I don't feel like there's a ton of podcasts listening in the summers as much as other times of the year because that's when people are on vacation and school breaks and that kind of thing.
Unless you're like me and you like stockpile your podcast episodes so that way you can listen to them on a road trip. But if there's
Well, true.
something I really like, I'll just re-listen to episodes.
True. I just am grateful that I go, oh, look, our numbers are up. People are listening to us. Hooray.
Right. Yeah. 100%. And I had to chuckle when you said, we don't make enough money doing this. For those of you who don't know, we don't make any money doing this.
It's not where
we
we get our
actually
paycheck.
pay to do this.
Yeah, which we're happy to do. We are happy to do. I mean, we
Yes.
get
It is
different
a
perks
lot
for
of
doing
fun. I
this.
do enjoy it.
Yeah. Yeah, I honestly feel like when you say, "Hey, I have a podcast," like a lot of people are more willing to talk with you in podcast form than if you're like, "Hey, I think you're an interesting person. Would you want to have a phone chat someday and just we chit chat?" Like I feel like having the podcast opens doors to like talk to the interesting people and pick their brains because they're
Absolutely.
being recorded.
Right. And I know there's a couple of people we would really like to chat with, but they just don't have good enough internet service for us to utilize our recording
Right.
studio how we normally do. And so hopefully during this off time, I put off in quotations for those of you who aren't watching this because there's no such thing as off time. But I'm hoping that maybe can figure out some tech to be able to at least do like the phone call and record it and be able to air it that way. There wouldn't be a video for the folks who watch on YouTube, but there are some people out there that they're willing to do it. We just have to make it accessible for them to be able to do it. So
Yeah, I agree.
maybe in all my spare time I'll try to figure that out.
I don't even know what spare time is. Like, it doesn't happen as much
I
anymore,
know.
but like when I first started posting about like my knitting projects and stuff, I would have folks come to me and they're like, in your spare time, there's this ministry you could knit for and just donate this stuff. And I didn't laugh at the time. And people don't do that as much anymore now because I think I'm posting so much about farm stuff. But now if anyone says anything about spare time, I'm like, I don't know what that is. I don't have any.
Yes, I know. I have friends that say all the time, like, I don't know how you do all that you do. And I'm like, well, there's a reason why the podcast hasn't been posting consistently, and that's because I'm insanely busy. And if there's something that has to give, unfortunately, the podcast is it. But I usually have a plan. And if that plan goes to kaput, I have multiple backup plans. But like when I wake up, like I typically hit the ground running. Like I have a to-do list and things aren't going to get done unless I buckle down and do it. So
Yeah.
I am very busy. I won't disagree with that, but I enjoy the things that I do. So for me, it's not just a bunch of work all the time. Like it's a labor of
Right.
love.
I think it would almost be easier if we had like the things we really hate doing and then like the things we love doing. But the problem is we love doing all the different things. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
but point being, we are wrapping up season 2. We will be starting season 3 probably in, I would say, mid to late September. I would say once everyone goes into breeding groups, then we'll come back and start giving you all the lovely content that our adoring fans are so appreciative of.
And that'll be good timing for us anyways, because the North America Dairy Sheep Association's annual Dairy Sheep Show happens at Wisconsin Sheep and Wool Festival.
Okay.
And that show, the dairy show specifically, is Friday, September 11th at 1 p.m. And I'm hoping to take my computer and my mic and maybe chat with some of the people that enter in the show and
Yeah.
if they're willing. I figure if I have it, then I can use it.
Yeah.
Maybe chat with the judge kind of deal. So it would be
Yeah.
great to, we could kick the season off with kind of recapping the show and
Yeah.
stuff like that. So
Yeah, for sure. And then in October, you and I are going to Homesteaders of America. Which by the way, there are still tickets as of mid-July 2026. So if you want to come, there are still tickets
I
available.
can't believe there's still tickets.
I can't either. I feel like part of it is there's so many other homesteading events popping up all over the country. Like it's not the only one, so
Yeah.
people are able to kind of pick and
Mm-hmm.
choose. So,
Are finding
uh,
loopholes there.
yeah. So I know it's kind of a first though for them to not be sold out this late in the year. But point being, if you want to come, you still have the opportunity. So Liv and I will be there. Katya from Slavic Beauty is going to be there too at our booth. So she'll be explaining how the cream separator works and all that, and any questions you have about Clabber. I will be speaking on Friday about just general sheep care, and then on Saturday about dairy sheep specifically. My book will be there in droves. So if you'd like to get a signed copy, you totally can, or bring your copy and I will sign it for you if you don't have it that already signed.
As I say, I'm
Um,
gonna bring my copy and have you sign it for me.
there you go. It's always funny to me when friends like we want you to sign our copy. And I'm like, I like you know me, like I'm right here.
Well,
Oh,
honestly, that book is your introduction of coming into my life. I
yeah.
mean, at the time,
Yeah.
I pre-purchased it, so I got it in October. It was like a
Okay.
birthday gift to myself.
Yeah.
Um, and read it, front to back.
Yeah.
And gosh, within a year is when we had an opening for the North American Dairy Sheep board. We had someone who needed to step down, so I was like, I'll reach out to Rachel. What do you guys think? And they're like, if you can get her.
Yeah, well, but you reached out to me before then because you're like, hey, we're formulating the North American Dairy Sheep Association. Would you be willing to give members a
Yes.
discount? And I was like, oh, great, more book sales.
Yes.
Yes,
Yep.
absolutely. Let me do you that favor. And I think then we had to talk a couple of times because I kept running out of stock. And like, I would know I was running out of stock because you'd message me and be like, hey, you're out of stock. My members need to be able to get to your book. And I was like, oh, well, I'll just have to take care. So that was like our preliminary conversation. And then you were like, would you want to be on the board? And I was like, I will be the world's worst board member, but sure, I will show up when I can. So, um,
If we were super tech savvy, which I really am not, I would insert the clip from Step Brothers where it's like, did we just become best friends? Yup. Because now we do. We practically talk to each other every day.
I came onto the board and everyone was just like, oh my gosh, you're actually here. You're actually on the board. I'm like, you guys have literally no idea how not big of a deal this is. That like I feel bad for you all, to be honest, because I am like when you look at ideal board member in the dictionary, my picture is not there. Like that's not what I'm there for is like I think the first board member meeting was like we were trying to figure out merch and then awards for the sheep show and
Yep.
like I remember turning off my camera and Kyle would come in and he's like, what are they talking about? I'm like, I don't know. I have no idea what they're talking about. I don't know what opinion I'm supposed to give. I'm literally just here listening and trying to learn because I don't know what I'm doing. And he's like, do you need something? I'm like, tea. Get me lots of tea.
Well, we're happy to have you. If you stuck around this far, nominations open up for board positions if you're
Yeah.
interested in running for a position.
Yeah.
Any current NADSA member in good standing can run. Nominations start after our August meeting and they go through September. We vote in October, and we announce the winners at our October meeting. So if you're interested, you can nominate yourself. I mean, there's
Yes.
not enough people for us to say, oh, somebody else needs to nominate you. By all means, nominate yourself. No one's going to be like, oh, they think high of themselves.
Right.
Um,
And if you don't necessarily want to be a board member, but you do want to help with like making banners or advertisements, or you have another idea, or you would just like to be a helpful, friendly person, we are starting committees, I believe, and formulating little
yeah.
groups of people who
Yep.
can do our busy work for us, and then we can do, the
Yeah.
admin stuff, and then figure out things like when the podcast season will keep going, or what webinars to do next, or stuff like that, where um, that's really only something the board can do. And then we have the committees of people who are like, we're here, we're creative, we want to help, we want to put things forward. So give us something to do. And we like, well, here's an event we've decided we're doing. You get on Canva and make it look like a very pretty announcement. Not a big deal for you. We just don't have
Mm-hmm.
time that way. you have the involvement you want, but not all the commitment of being a consistent board member.
It's exciting that NADSA has grown so much to the point where I need help. I historically have done a lot of like the behind the scenes, the flyer making, sending out emails, that kind of thing. We've just grown, and my involvement with, my new career, I'm busy. I don't need to control everything. And there's people out there who also love to create flyers and would love to just like give them the details and they can put something together, and then we can, tweak it how we want it.
Mhm.
And they're willing to just donate their time, and then we can, share it on social media, put it on our website. It's nice to have people who are willing to like step up and
Yeah,
and help
for
with those things. So
sure.
so yes, we're starting committees, and like the committee members are going to be able to attend our board meetings, so that way, they can report back, what they're doing, or if they have any questions or anything like that. So that's
Right.
a way to get involved if you don't necessarily want to commit to being on the board. And if for some reason, if anyone wanted to run to be the president and take over the database and printing the certificates and everything, we can ship it to you. I worry that they would think that they would hurt my feelings if they wanted to run, and I just want people to know that's not at all the case. If somebody
Yes.
truly felt like that they wanted to be in the president position, like, I would not be offended at all. But I'm also happy to continue doing it until that person steps up.
Yeah.
And if nobody steps up, eventually it'll be my daughter when she's old enough to be an adult.
What do you want to be when you grow up, Journey? I don't know, but I will be taking over the board of NADSA if no one else steps up.
Thanks, Mom.
All that to say, we will be back in September. We've got some stuff going on with NADSA. So yeah, we probably won't be back with the podcast before these things happen. So just for those of you who like taking notes and like knowing these things, nominations for NADSA board members will open in, did you say August? And voting will happen in October. But if you want to be on a committee, you can email NADSA anytime and say, I am your willing participant in that. What would you like us to do? And
for any current NADSA members, they were sent a Google form. So if you're not a current NADSA member, I encourage you to, because if you join August 21st for $25, you actually get a prorated membership. So you get the rest of 2026 and then all of 2027.
Mhm.
So I do encourage people to join. Probably by the time this airs, it'll almost be August 1st. So you do need to be a member to run to be on the board.
Right.
Our North America Dairy Sheet, and then parentheses NADSA Facebook group.
Yes.
Like we'll post updates on there as well as our website. So, and if you ever have any questions, send an email to the Gmail account, which is listed on the website in multiple places, and we're
Yeah.
more than happy to
Yeah.
answer questions and
Yep.
all that stuff.
So tentatively we'll be back late September, and then we actually do have one or two special episodes that are coming in between seasons because they are rather off topic of dairy sheep episodes, but also there's still information that I thought was valuable, and I pitched it to Liv and she's like, yeah, that sounds great. So we will be having a couple special episodes airing between seasons that aren't dairy sheep specific, but I think are still valuable to the dairy sheep community. I have no idea when those are going to air, but just, we won't completely disappear between now and season 3, which I can't believe we made it to season 3, to be perfectly honest. Very proud of ourselves.
I know. Well, let's go through and count how many episodes have been done altogether.
So that's all I have. So we will see you in the
That's
fall.
a wrap.
Thank you everyone for trucking with us up to this point and sharing the podcast and telling folks about it, because really, like, I don't do any advertisement really other than just occasionally posting on my social media of like, hey, I posted something new, you should go listen. So most of the listeners have found us either through word of mouth or their own interests, and we do really appreciate that, because like we keep saying, we don't get an income for this. We're just doing this as a labor of love, of we really want to get more information out to people interested in dairy sheep. And so people letting us know that they appreciate the podcast and that we're doing a good job really does give us that oomph to keep going. Anyway, thank you guys. We'll see you in the fall.
Yeah, we'll see you later.
Bye guys. Thanks so much for listening to the Woolly Way podcast.
We hope you enjoyed our episode and have gleaned at least one tip you can implement in your flock right away. If you like what you heard, please hit the subscribe button, and if you wouldn't mind, leave us a review. This helps others find our podcast so that they can enjoy learning about dairy sheep along with you. The Woolly Way podcast is a production of Whoopsie Daisy Farm and Crafty Fox Acres. For updates and information about our show, follow us on Facebook or Instagram.
Subscribe to our YouTube and email list and look us up at whoopsiedaisyfarm.com to find both. Have a particular guest you'd like us to host or a topic you'd like us to cover? Fill out our contact form on our website or shoot us an email at whoopsiedaisyfarm@gmail.com.
See you next time.